All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Passionately Speaking, our weekly call where we talk about how we can become even a better speaker. So today is a second half of last week, and it wasn't planned. It was because we went through last week, and Jackie and some of you really wanted to go deep dive into what I called last week problem, possibility, and process problem, possibility, and process. So today's topic is to leverage the stage to grow your business addressing the problem head on. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, how many of you have been through my speaker training? Almost all of you have gone through this perfect, the speaker training. Then in there, you know that there's one place. It comes after the story where we're talking about problem, pain, and suffering, right? Problem, pain, and suffering. I call it PPS. Well, in addition to problem, pain, and suffering, guess what? We have benefits and we have solution. And that's all this is that I did talked about the other day. Problem, possibility, and process. So we're going to dive deep into that and how we can do it. But I don't want you to get confused with problem, pain, and suffering because it's the same thing. All right. It's exactly the same thing. I'm calling it a little different because I needed three P's. So that's why. But let's get into it and remind this is a reminder for some and it might be fresh and new for others. So when we're sharing our story and we talk in our story, we've already kind of set it up because we talk about how we were rags to riches kind of thing, right? We were failing, and then all of a sudden, boom, something happened and we succeeded. We were experiencing adversity, and then boom, now we're out of it and we're sharing it with others. People love $1 million stories like that, right? I had $1 million, I lost it, and then I got a million again, and I'm going to show you how to get your million. So people love that kind of thing. And so that's, in my story, it's, I was a lousy speaker. I failed miserably, didn't make any money, didn't get any clients. It was almost could have lost my job. And then boom, right? Something happened that changed it all. And then I was on the right road. I got put back on the right road. And here I am today, that kind of thing. So we've already said this is possible. Now we get into facing them head on. Here is the problem, meaning here's your problem. So when I get into the problem that my audience has, it's the audience of your problem. And guess what? Here's a hint. It's the problem that you're the solution for. If you're not the solution, then it's the wrong problem. Okay? So I'm the solution for people that are afraid to speak, that don't know how to speak, all of that. So when I talk about the problem, pain, and suffering, I talk about, the problem is most business owners just don't know how to speak. Some of them, yes, are afraid, but they don't even know how to get started. And they don't know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, much less close at the end. So what they do is they don't do anything. They don't get up at all. And the problem with that is this is the pain actually. The you could say problem, pain. I don't like to say the pain of that, but the problem with that or the cause is they don't get business. And they don't get business that's really theirs. And they don't get the kind of business that people really want to do business with them, but they just don't know what they do enough. But guess what? It doesn't have to be that way. Now you go into the solution, right? You go into the possibilities and the solution. I'll break it down in a minute. But think about okay, so it doesn't have to be that way. You too could speak. You too could attract more clients than you can imagine, more work than you could do, and have more money and help more people than you ever dreamed possible. Right? Those are the possibilities. And then the solution, right? And so which I'm calling process here. So, all you have to do is come to my 7 day speaker retreat in Puerto Vallarta, and you're going to learn everything you need to know about speaking in front of a group, closing the stage, and getting all the clients that you possibly could for the rest of your life. Boom. So that's what we're going to do detailed today. And you're all going to get a chance and an opportunity to say your piece because this is critical. Without setting this up, we're setting up. So we've already set it up like I'm an example. I was a bad speaker. I was afraid to speak. I couldn't speak. And then I went through this journey, right? And now, boom, I'm helping millions and millions of people. But guess what? I don't want you to have to go through that long journey. I'm going to give you the secrets. I'm going to tell you all that you need right now. I'm going to teach you so you don't have to go, to the College of Hard Knocks. Right? That's what you're promising, that people can get this information quick. They can get health quick. They can get financial help quick. Right? That's all we want it quick. Sorry, but it's the truth. You tell somebody, hey, I'll teach you in 4 years, how to become financial wealthy. They'll go broke waiting. So we all want it fast and we all want it quick. So how do we do that? By your expertise, because you're the ones that went through the long journey to get the knowledge that you have now that you're going to package in 7 steps or package in a system or package really quickly so that we can get it and learn it. Okay, so let's break this down step by step. Now, before I do that, there's 2 other things I want to share with you. We can do a problem, pain, and suffering overall. Now, we're doing it overall of the steps, whatever we're teaching, the acronym, the 5 steps, whatever it is you're teaching, and however it is you're teaching it. So let's say I use my example leads, which is for leverage. It doesn't matter what it's for, but the point being is that you're going to have an acronym. I could do one of 2 things. I could do one, which is what I do, for all of it, as long as it all leads up to the solution, or I could do it step by step. I could say L is for leverage. The problem is people don't know how to leverage public speaking. Blah, 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 blah. And then when I got to the next one, E for excitement, educate, enthusiasm, whatever I decide that day I want to use, then I'd say a problem, pain, and suffering for that. E is for excitement. You got to be enthusiastic about what you teach, what you talk about. If you're not, you're going to bore your audience, right? That's the pain. That's the problem. But think about if you had them at the edge of their seat, every single word, then they'd be dying to come to the back of the room and buy your products and services. So I could do it at the point being is I could do it one overall, which is what I usually teach in my classes because it's easier that way and it takes longer. This is more advanced what I'm teaching you now. I would not teach this in my 4-day speaker training class or it's just too advanced. But now you've been with me a long time, you understand it. You could do it for each one. Only if you had like 3, 4 maybe points. Otherwise it gets, too long and too redundant. Like problem is blah, blah, blah. But I like when it's about 3, then you can really do it effectively for each and still have time left over for, the actual teachings and the good stuff. Okay, so now let's come back to the formula again. So the problem and the pain. I call it PPS, problem, pain, and suffering, right? Problem is usually we have to start out by saying the problem because nobody knows what you're talking about. You just got done with your story, right? So we don't have to say the pain is and everything else, but usually we have to get them on track by saying, well, the problem is, most people don't know how to public speak, or the problem is most people think processed food is healthy, whatever your deal is. Most people think that they can do their financial plan on their own. No, right? You know what your problem is, and we're going to have you go around and tell me what that is in a minute. So the problem is then what is the pain and suffering caused from that problem, right? I mean, here's where you're not going to be nice. Too many times, I mean, and this is a key. This is the secret ingredients, secret sauce, so to speak, of your speech to set up your speech for sales, to leverage it for growing your business. Most of the time, you're not going to hear people talk about the problem, pain, and suffering. You're not. Especially like if it's a I mean if it's a Christian speech, you certainly could too. The problem is maybe somebody's not right with God or whatever. But most of the time you won't. Most speeches you won't. You won't even hear it. But if you're selling from the stage, if you're using public speaking to grow your business, you need to put this in there. That's the secret sauce to success. All right. So the problem is people don't know how to speak, blah, 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 whatever your problem is, and this describe the pain of having it. They're not getting the business that they should get. They're sitting on the sideline. Nobody knows who they are. They're the best kept secret. I could go on and on about the pain that it's caused just because they're too afraid to step on stage. But it doesn't have to be that way. Now I talk about the possibilities or what in my classes I say are benefits. Doesn't have to be that way. You could learn to speak really easy, and in less than 3 months, you could be out there speaking and attracting an endless array of clients, an endless flow of clients, leads, referrals. You could have like a never ending flow. Every time you needed a client, you just go to the little faucet called speaking, turn it on, and right? Okay. And then just the process of how they would go about to learn it, to do it. You're not selling, you're just dropping a little seedling. All right. I said something about, my mastermind, my portfolio, but you could say something, anything. At the end of this speech, I'm going to share with you how you can get it. I'm going to share with you. Remember, the process is the how you're not going to tell them how here in your speech, but you're going to tell them how to get it. Well, how do you get it? It's in chapter 10 in this book, right? You'll get an opportunity to purchase this book at the end of my speech. It's simple, simple. You're planting the seed, and now they can't wait to buy the book. They can't wait to sign up for your retreat. They can't wait to have a calendar scheduled meeting. You could do that too. I'd be happy to tell you how to do it. Let's schedule a 30-minute consultation. Boom, right? That's the process, but you set it up. Here's the pain. Here's what's going to happen to you. You're going to suffer if you don't get it fixed. And here's the possibilities of what you life could be like. I just had a thought. I know I don't want to bring anybody down, but when my husband would and I would go to the cardiologist, they really encouraged him to get a pacemaker and a fibrillator. So they brought us into the office, and this is how they tried to sell us, right? They first of all they showed us how big it was, and it's bigger than a cell phone, right? It's bigger than a cell phone. It looks like this. This is what's going to be in in your heart. And I'm saying it's gigantic, right? And then in 1 month, we're going to cut the cords of your natural beating heart, and your natural beating heart will never beat again. Well, what do you think my husband did? Right, exactly, Jackie. Yeah, we got out of there as fast as can be. I could just see the look on his face. He was not going to do that. But here, if they would have said this, they would have said, your problem is your heart is weak. It's tired and it just needs some help. And we got the help. Yeah, it looks a little big, but you know what? Our hearts are big too. And it's just going to match the size of your heart. And guess what? And imagine being able to ride a bike again. Imagine being able to, go on vacation again. Imagine being able to, make love to your wife again. Imagine if they would have painted a beautiful picture of what life would have been like, he would have said yes, and he would have been here today. That's why it's important for each and every one of us to paint the right picture. Because if not, we're doing somebody a disjustice, whatever. We're killing them. We're killing their business. We're killing their soul. We're killing whatever it is that we're trying to grow. It's really important to add this to your speech. The possibilities, the endless possibilities. Got it? All right. When I say
Got
got it, you say got it. I say good.
Got it.
got it.
Got it. Got it.
All right. We're going to go around the room and this time share what the problem is. Don't worry about the possibilities in the process. We'll do that next. But just start out by telling us what the problem is that your clients are facing that you solve, right? So let's start with Dr. Renee. What problem do you solve for your?
Okay. The problem in many relationships is simply communication. It is unresolved emotional pain, negative self talk, chronic stress, and wounded nervous systems that are silently controlling people's reactions and behaviors and connection with one another. And many
Mm,
couples are trying to build healthy relationships while they're still carrying the, the echoes of insecurity, rejection, fear, criticism, trauma, resentment, and emotional exhaustion within themselves instead of responding with love, patience, and understanding that they can react in a more loving way rather than survival mode. Small disagreements quickly become emotional stressors because those battles with the person that you love the most, because people are often reacting from a place of old wounds, old old emotional battles within themselves. And instead of being present with situations, the result is emotional distance, defensiveness, criticism, and lack of intimacy, and relationships slowly deteriorating and under the weight of unresolved internal pain.
okay, good. Excellent. So that was problem, pain, and the pain,
That's the
and the
pain. That's what
suffering
you
that
said,
goes
right? Going
along.
through the solution. So
No,
that is
no,
that's
no. We're
couples.
just doing the problem.
Oh wait, but did you understand that that was to do with couples or people in general with relationships? Did you
Yes,
get that?
yes.
Okay, that's all. I'm complete.
Yes, yes. What you might want to do in a speech is um, cut it back a little bit because I was getting lost in all of the
Okay,
words because
thank you.
first it was communication and then there was this and then it was this and
Okay,
so be
so Arvee,
careful
thank you.
not to give
Thank you.
too much.
Okay,
That's for everybody. Too much of the problem. We can't get around it. We want the problem just to hit them right here and the biggest suffering or pain as a result,
okay.
which ends up in what? It ends up in separation, divorce.
Divorce, silent treatment, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's the worst is silent treatment. So this was off the cuff, RV, because you just called on me. It's like,
Yeah, I know.
okay,
I
and
know.
you say, always be ready, always be ready. So I said yes. Okay,
I'm using
complete.
it as a teaching tool.
Yes, thank you, RV. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm complete. Thank you.
Yeah, good. No, good job. You jumped right in there. Perfect. Perfect. Good example to start out. Okay, Jackie.
The problem is people have such hectic lifestyles today that they don't take the time that they need to eat what they know that they should eat. And that causes all kinds of health issues.
Perfect. Short and sweet. Now, for that, maybe too short. So I would add what kind of health issues? Diabetes, right? High blood pressure, blah, 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 which can lead to early death, early, whatever. Just really get them between the eyes with what, no more being nice. We got to get them through the eyes so that they will take action. you know, because you're not saying they're going to, you're just saying this could lead to, right? Okay. Dr. Lumana.
I'll be perfectly truthful. I'm not doing anything except writing these days, so I don't have anything for you.
Okay, that's okay. Well, good for you for writing. I love it. Good. Okay, Tommy.
Okay. The problem is most people are fearful to step into the unknown. They are unfamiliar with how to step into their future, their business opportunity, personal growth, because they're afraid of failure. And so then they stay frozen and get stuck rather than stepping towards their dreams and their desires.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Good job. Perfect amount. All right, Ramona.
I hope that you guys can hear that okay, because sometimes we have a reverbing. Can you hear me
No,
okay?
you sound fine.
Okay. I'm glad we're having this because I've been trying to write this for a long time, and let's see how it goes. The problem is when you give birth to your first child and become a parent, it is like nothing you have ever done before. Even if you've been a child care provider, a teacher, or did babysitting for your own siblings, it's a whole new ball game. You will inevitably experience physical and emotional exhaustion, hangry, tired moments, and snap at your mate, or feel so frustrated or hopeless when you just don't know what else to try to comfort your fussy baby. These are normal, new parenting woes that require a new level of attention, discipline, patience, endurance, just to name a few parenting qualities you need more of to provide 24/7 care for a newborn, yourself, and your mate. And maybe when you think about the countless things you need to know, to do, to teach, to keep your children alive and well, that can feel pretty overwhelming. But it doesn't have to be if you feel. Anyway, that far.
Okay. Now refresh. I got all the suffering, but what was the
The
what
main
was
problem.
yeah, the problem is what?
The problem is that when you give birth to your first child, you just don't know how to be a parent. You've never done it before.
Okay. Got it.
So it's not so clear.
Got it. That's clear. I don't know why I didn't get it. Maybe because of the now I'm hearing myself.
I'm turning me.
Okay. Okay, got it. Thank you, Ramona. Perfect. Maybe a little slower for you. Maybe that's what'll do it. Just in the beginning. It's fine to, get revved up afterwards, but maybe in the beginning. The problem is pause so we know what's coming and then state the problem. That might help because I know you talk, you talk a little faster than I can hear. Okay, Tanya.
The problem is most people do not struggle financially because they do not care about money. They struggle because they were never taught how to manage money, plan for the future, build wealth, or make financial decisions with confidence. They are working hard, earning income, paying bills, and trying to keep up, but there's often no clear plan. Without a plan, money controls them instead of them controlling their money.
Perfect. So the problem really is they don't have a plan, not
The
that
problem
others.
is they don't know how to manage money, and they don't know how to manage money because they don't have a plan.
Right. Okay. So they don't know how to manage money because they don't. That's the problem. They don't know how. Okay. Got it. All right. Katrina, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Do you want to take a stab?
Yes.
That's an awful word, isn't it? Do you want to take a stab at it? Psycho all over the place. Sorry about that. Do you want to take a turn?
Yes. No, I forgot what I was going to say. The problem is wives that have had a difficult marriage begin to spend all their time and energy blaming their husband instead of looking for solutions.
Beautiful.
They lose their personal power and goals for their lives.
Okay, beautiful. You had me, yeah. Um, right before you added that little last part. You're right on. They blame their husbands. Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
great. Now we're going to add to that. So let's talk a little bit about, and again, many of you put the suffering in there, like Dr. Renee put the pain and suffering. If you haven't, add that. Many of you already did. So I'm not even going to worry about that. Ramona did. Tommy did. You know, you did. You did. So remember, the pain is what's caused by having the problem. Okay, that's the pain. And you're showing empathy that you understand their pain, you know their pain. But now it's time to add what's possible, which i.e. are the benefits. If they got rid of that pain, got rid of that problem. See, you want to outweigh the pain with desire or benefits, or in this case, what's possible. Because what's possible is a powerful word, right, in the English language. Instead of just saying the benefits, I would say the benefits, what's possible. Now, one time when Michael and I first went to Hawaii, I never snorkeled before. I was afraid of it. And I'm a bit claustrophobic. So, but I didn't want to tell him because it was our first time going to Hawaii. And so I didn't know what I was going to do. But, we went ahead and bought the gear and all this stuff. And then he took me to this very little special place on Maui that we always called the secret spot. It is a secret because I'll tell you, I couldn't find it now if I tried. But it was a beautiful place that not a lot of people knew about. And so we got the gear on. I swam out with him, and then I just couldn't put my head under the water. I just couldn't do it. I was, I don't know, afraid that I was going to breathe water or something. And then he told me, he said, take a look. And so I finally, again, because I didn't want him to know I was a scaredy cat, I put the thing in and I just went down for a second. It was so beautiful. The fish were so colorful and so big and such a variety that in that moment I had a choice. I could let fear stop me and not do it and just tell him I couldn't, or I could suck it up, be a big girl, and go down there and enjoy it. And that's what I ultimately decided to do in that split second. Just to let the fear go, let whatever go that was holding me back, and get into that water and get into the moment and that's what I did. It was beautiful. And we went snorkeling hundreds of times after that, well, when he could. After a while, he couldn't breathe, so he couldn't do any snorkeling, but it was beautiful. And I just went snorkeling in Boracay in the Philippines. The fish were nothing like they are in Hawaii. I'll tell you that. Nothing like Hawaii. Not as pretty, not as colorful, not as variety. It was just incredible. It's like I don't know, it's like a art. You're looking at moving art down there. So anyway, that's what we have to portray is making that possibility so much greater than the fear because it's really fear. The reason why people have problems is fear, right? If we didn't have fear, we'd have no problems. We'd do whatever. We wouldn't even think about it. We'd jump off cliffs probably, but with a parachute, obviously, or something. But that's what you want to do in this sentence, make this so much higher. So yes, we want to talk about pain and suffering, but we don't want that pain and suffering to be this big and our possibilities be this big. Got it? So hold off on some of the pain and suffering if you need to, and make sure that you raise the possibilities. Like I said, if they would have told Michael he could be riding a bike and climbing mountains and doing all this fun stuff, instead of just telling him we're going to cut the cord to your natural heart and it'll never beat again, naturally. I mean, no wonder he was scared. So that's our job is to make people feel so, so wonderful living up here and not down here. Okay. Got everybody understand that what we're doing? We're going to talk about the possibilities now. We'll talk about the solution and the close next. Just the possibilities. All right. And you could do the problem, pain, and suffering and then add possibilities if you want, or just give me the possibilities, whichever you're comfortable with. Okay, Dr. Renee.
Okay. When couples learn how to regulate their emotion, the possibilities are immense to protect their emotional safety with the relationship and to speak life into what could be the possibility of, instead of criticism, connection. That connection can deepen with trust being restored.
Okay, so it can deepen, but what's the possibility or the benefits of it deepening? Now what?
Oh, but you don't want me to give you the solution.
No, no. What is a result of it deepening? Because that's
Oh,
the benefit
enduring
or
love.
the possibility.
How about that? Enduring love.
How about everlasting love? How about being together
Everlasting
forever?
love. Yes, we could use
You
that
know,
one too. Got it.
right?
That's what my first
Just
book
really,
says. Everlasting love.
just being best friends forever and never worrying about, you know, anything happening to their relationship, just keeping it going. Because isn't
Enduring,
that the big,
everlasting peace,
yeah,
understanding, everlasting love.
yeah. Yeah, love for a lifetime. That's what people want, but they often don't work on to get it,
They think
you
it's
know?
going to come automatically.
Because of the communication, they just let it go. I mean, who am I telling? You're the expert. Now, just a few weeks ago, I had the pleasure of having lunch with Jackie and her husband.
Oh, yeah.
And her husband is what? How long have you been together? 50 years or something?
No, we've been together in September. It will be 64 years.
60.
We will be married 60 years in June.
Wow.
Ah, that is
Congratulations, Jack.
so incredible. And what I
Thank you.
loved about them is they were just comfortably, lightly, lovingly together, where sometimes older married couples, they bicker, you've seen this, Dr. Renee, they just, it was June of whatever. No, it wasn't. It was July, it's just, and none of that happened. It was just loving and they giggled and,
Probably they
ding,
have a
ding,
lot of
ding.
mutual respect for one another,
Yeah.
RV. Respect is so important,
Yeah.
besides the communication.
Yeah, and I think a word that I would add, Renee, to what you were saying,
Yes.
to have a more peaceful marriage, because so many people have so much strife and
Yeah.
arguing,
Yes. Or
which went along with what Arvee was saying.
they both want to be right, and they get their egos involved. EGO is edging God out. That I use that acronym a lot. EGO.
Okay, good. Well, anyway, so perfect. All right, Jackie, you're up.
The possibilities of having better health means that you have better energy, your mood can be improved, you have better mental health, and sometimes it even gives you a longer life. Of course, we can't promise that, but that would be something that we would all be looking for. Plus, in this age when people are getting sick all the time, you're going to have an improved immune system to be able to fight off disease.
Good. All right, good. So I would just move the order a little bit and put the living longer last. You don't have to discount it by saying, of course, that's what just it's a fact. If people eat healthy, take care of themselves, they're going to live longer. Fact. That's a fact, right? So, where if they drink and do all this other crazy stuff, it just cuts down their life. Yes, technically, God's going to call you no matter what. But I think if you take care of the holy temple, he just might leave you a little bit longer, right? Not call you home so soon if you're not detrimental to anybody, including yourself. But make that the ultimate possibility and it's quality of life. Yeah, who wants to live to 100 if they're bedridden? Nobody. But it's quality of life. Imagine being, like I said about Michael, riding a bike. He never rode a bike anyway since I've known him, but imagine that. you know, something like that. The possibilities. Anything is possible. It's endless.
Yeah, I like the word imagine. That
Yeah.
that takes me to where you want me to go. Imagine a peaceful marriage.
Yes.
Imagine having all your finances in order so you don't have to worry about money.
Yes. I love it. I always what Tanya and I talk about. Imagine going shopping and never having to look at the price tag. That's what I want. And that's what I do. But then I get up there and went, whoa, wait a minute. I got to rethink this. Okay, very good. All right. So you're going to pass, Dr. Luana? You're going to pass again? Okay. Tommy. Tommy, you're up. What are the possibilities? Sorry, you're muted. Yeah,
I thought you
good.
said Tanya. Okay.
Tom.
Uh, what if I could show you that your dreams can come true, that you can increase your financial independence, and that there can be more joy and happiness in your life, that by stepping into your fears, you can wish upon a star and attract and live out your dreams.
Okay. Okay. I'm hanging. What else? That's good though, actually, because you left me kind of hanging, wanting more. I love it. Okay. Good. Okay. Ramona, what are the possibilities?
Well, I'm going to have to go listen to you again because I like all the things I'm hearing. But anyway, what I have right now is a little bit of the first part. And maybe when you think about the countless things you need to know, to do, and teach to keep your children alive and well, that can feel pretty overwhelming. But it doesn't have to be so overwhelming if you'll accept and trust that God put this new baby, new parent plan in place, the same everywhere around the world. Because not only does it keep the human race going, in multiple ways, it's good for us. And whether you believe it or not, the first year of our babies' lives are actually the simplest when it comes to the most important things you need to teach them and skills you need to develop to be a confident, effective, loving parent and mate.
Okay. Okay. So what's the possibility again? Now, the problem was it's a brand new baby and they're overwhelmed. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Okay. And the possibility, just kind of in a nutshell.
Is to be to begin with a confident, effective, loving parent and mate.
How does that solve their overwhelmness?
Well, I hope that the things I'm going to teach them, I have some 3 scientifically proven, simple, free things you can do the first year of your baby's life to lay a solid foundation for raising a happy, bright child. But,
Happy child, but I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed, and your solution is for the child when I'm overwhelmed. What's my solution? You see, if the problem is, I don't care, XYZ, we don't solve ABC. We got to solve XYZ. And I'm not sure I heard you solving it's my first child. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do, right? I don't know what to do. It could, maybe I'm going to enter post whatever, syndrome. I don't know. But how can you help me from being overwhelmed?
Yeah, I see
What
where you're
are
coming
my
from. Like I said,
possibilities? So the possibilities are, okay, there's problem, pain, and suffering because I'm overwhelmed. That means the problem with that being overwhelmed, I might neglect my baby. I might not serve it, change the diapers on time. I might not this, I might not that, right? Which is not good, obviously. But imagine being able to take care of everything. Everything's done, everything's nice and neat. You're able to give the baby a bath. You're able to clothe it. You're able to change his diapers. You're on top of everything. Imagine how good you feel about yourself being a good new mother, right? So just take a look at that. It's your
Yep.
answer to your problem, the
Yeah, that's
possibilities to
good.
your problem.
Yeah.
It might be a different problem. Might be you might change your problem, or you change the possibilities to the problem you stated. So this is for everybody. So I'm glad that happened, because that's not uncommon. Are you putting your pin in your mouth? Is that
On my
healthy?
chin.
And now
No,
you
I'm
got
not.
it on your lips.
Well,
It can't
maybe
be
so.
healthy. Is that healthy, Jackie? It's not
Oh,
easy.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure it is.
You're
That's
wearing
building
black
your immune
lipstick
system.
again.
Building your immune system.
That's another problem. That's a horse of a different color.
I'm still alive, okay?
Okay. All
No,
right,
that's
Tanya.
very helpful.
So I told you the problems and not knowing how to manage. The pain is the stress, fear, and uncertainty that comes from not knowing where your money is going or whether you will have enough. But it doesn't have to be that way. The possibility is a completely different money story, one where you have an emergency cushion, a simple plan for paying off debt, a clear path to retirement, and a strategy to build real generational wealth. But most importantly, you gain peace of mind, healthier conversations about money, and the confidence to make decisions that support the life that you want. Imagine knowing that you have, imagine knowing exactly where your money is going, having cash set aside for emergencies, paying down debt on purpose, and finally seeing your savings and investments grow.
Okay, so that's great. Perfect. I'd frame it as what's possible, though. Seeing your things grow, blah, 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 blah. It sounded like some solution was in there.
Okay, so the possibility would be not knowing that they have an emergency cushion, but more having clarity and control and confidence.
Yes, that they had a cushion. Think of the possibility. Think the possibilities, one being that you have a big cushion, that if no matter what happened, you could afford to buy it. No more stress in having to borrow money. No more high interest rates. You've got that money, right? The emergency fund.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I
Yeah,
came,
so instead of not having enough for emergency, the possibility would be you have a fully loaded emergency fund that gives you
yes,
some breathing rooms.
yes, imagine having a full, $100,000 emergency fund where you could
So,
do anything you needed to get a new roof, get a new whatever. Yeah.
because I had some notes like, so imagine instead of living paycheck to paycheck, you have a clear spending plan and money left over for a purpose. So those are the
And
possibilities.
how
Yes.
about
Well,
adding some emotionally tinged words? Because everything you're saying is cool, but
Mhm.
the emotion seems to be missing with some like emotional words like how would you like the freedom to take your grandkids on a cruise? Uh, how would you like to
Okay.
have that dream vacation? How would you like to kick back and do nothing because you don't have to worry about money?
agreed. See, what you described with the spending plan and everything, Tanya, is the solution.
Is
Yeah,
that's
we're
what I
not
was
at the
doing. So I picked the
solution
solution.
yet. Yeah,
Okay.
that's next. But
Okay.
we'll
I
cover
like
that
that,
next
Tommy.
week.
That makes sense. A lot of emotion.
Emotion is what grabs people, not the plan. The plan won't grab people. It's the emotion behind the plan.
Mm.
Well, and the emotional words are where we can create the visual, and it's the visual that's the emotion. We can, oh, what life would be like if we, or, like you said, sitting around, not having to work. I mean, wow, being able to do anything and everything anytime you wanted. Kind of like my life now.
Yeah, kind of like my life now.
Kind of like my life now. Or what about that beach house, buying that beach house you always wanted? Opening up that restaurant you always wanted to open for fun. Things like that, big things. But yeah, spinning plan is solution. It's not possibilities. So that's next. All right. Katrina, one more, and then we will end for today and pick it up next week with and then next week will be all about that marketing it from the stage, okay, to grow your business.
Wait a minute. One question, Arvee, before it slips out of my mind. Is there a certain amount of time for the solution, the pain and suffering? Is it like 1 minute, 2 minutes,
5
3 minutes?
No more than
5 minutes for all three.
Yeah.
See, yeah.
Yeah. And that should be more than plenty of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Katrina.
Yes. Here. What's the benefit of not blaming your husband? It's more peace. It's taking that time to take care of yourself and to plan for your future.
Again, we're talking about what are the possibilities? What are the possibilities of okay, so you said say the problem again. The problem is
wives who are unhappy that blame their husbands.
Blame the husband. So now the possibilities, can you, because if they blame their husbands, they're mad at their husbands, they're disconnected from their husbands. So imagine being, best friends again with your husband. Imagine being inseparable, going everywhere together, loving on each other, hugging each other, taking romantic vacations, romantic walks on the beach, going to romantic dinners. That's the possibilities. Again, you're like into almost the solution.
Okay.
Okay. Play it up, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, reach for the sky. You're not promising anything. All you're doing is saying what's possible. Right?
Okay. So like walking hand in hand, looking into each other's eyes, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Stuff that they used to do when they first met. That's all it wants, right? Is that love, that 4-month love, when you're first 4 months. What is that called, Dr. Renee? I mean, that infatuation, like all in love, everything's perfect.
Euphoria? Is it euphoria?
Yeah, euphoria.
Euphoria and hot sex.
That's all we want for our whole relationship is that euphoria.
But that's not real, Arvee. You know that, right?
Oh God, it is.
It is, yeah. But it's not about the it's not about the wedding. It's about the marriage. It's not about what's in the bedroom, but it's friendship and love. It's what Jackie and her husband have. It's what you and Michael had, and it's what Jim and I have right now. And we just celebrated 26 years, April 5th.
Lovely.
We're like best friends, just like Jackie and her husband. And there you go. Okay, thank you.
That's what it's about.
And we're celebrating 40 years next year.
Oh, congratulations! And it's not just love; it's actually really liking each other and hanging out and being best friends. That's what it comes down to.
We work together 24/7, so we have to like each other.
Yeah,
I would just say there are some days, though.
Oh yeah, there are some days.
But overall, it's mutual respect. That's what it comes down to. I think all the ladies here will agree. And women need love and men need respect.
Yeah.
Very good. Anything else, Katrina, you want to add to that?
No, that was funny.
Okay. So next week you're going to do all that you put together, and then we're going to add the clothes on it. Okay.
How long do you want it to be? Sorry, how long do you want our presentation to be?
5 minutes.
I would say no more than 5 minutes. So I would say for next week, 3 minutes.
Okay.
What you have so far, because we're going to add to it. So no more than 3 minutes. Okay.
Are we adding the solution?
Huh? We're going to add the solution. Remember, I want to hear the possibilities to be more than the pain and suffering though. Right? So don't give me a bunch of pain and suffering and then just a little bit of possibilities. I want the possibilities to outweigh the pain and suffering. That's how you're going to get them. And like Tommy said, emotionally emotionally used words, paint pictures. We want to see that video in our mind. Okay.
I
Any
have a question, RV.
Yeah.
I think where my confusion last week was we have all this that you talked about today, but where do you put in? I mean, that's sort of like the bread in the sandwich, top and bottom. Where do you put the meat in?
Okay. So if you're looking at the bread, the first part is attention grabber, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
the summary, and story. The very next step is the problem, pain, and suffering. So I like to say it's the mayonnaise on
Okay.
bread. It's not the meat yet. You're setting
Okay.
yourself up. So it's the mayonnaise, the dressing, yeah, on the
Okay.
bread
That makes sense.
before you
Thank
launch
you.
in. Yeah, you're welcome.
Can you say that one more time, RV, from the beginning? The attention grabber, please.
Okay, well, you all should know these by heart. Attention grabber, welcome, thank you, your summary or transition into your story. When we say summary, what do I mean by summary? What do we do? Anybody remember? It's been a while.
Which one? What did you just say?
Summary. It's usually the title of your talk. Before I share with you the 5 ways that you can get more clients, would it be okay if I shared a little bit about myself?
Right.
Yeah, and that's your story. Then it's problem, pain, and suffering. And then, of course, possibilities and solution all in one. It's all mayonnaise. Okay. Very good.
Good.
All right. Well, we're just a couple minutes after. We will see you back here next week. If you have any speaking engagements, please bring them here. We want to hear about them. We want to celebrate you and applaud you and see what's new in your life. So make sure you're letting us know when you're speaking. And I hope you are still keeping track of them because at the beginning of the year, we took a poll and all of you set goals for how many you wanted to do. So we want to check and see where you are on those goals as well. All right, so we'll see you back here next week. You know where I am. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, get out there and speak. And remember to always speak with passion. Mwah! Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.